Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nikki aka Ada Canada, and on today's video we are going to be talking about the first few things that you need to do within your first week in Canada. So whether you're a student or you came in as a permanent resident, whatever the case is that is bringing you to Canada and you're going to be staying for a period of time, then I have a list of 8 important things that you need to get done within your first week in Canada. So let's get into the meat of the matter. The first thing you need to do, no matter who you are, no matter your status, is to check off or clear yourself with Customs and Border Services. So it doesn't matter if you're a Canadian citizen or not, or foreigner or student or PR, whatever the case may be, you always have to clear yourself at Customs and Border Services. Right now at the major airports, you can do this yourself with the help of officials who are standing by. So it's very easy to do this and it doesn't really take any time, except, well, if you're carrying any goods that are questionable. But usually it doesn't take much time and it's something you can do yourself in front of the computer. So if you're a student, after you've cleared yourself with Customs and Border Services, you will head over to the immigration office to get your study permit. So before you came into Canada, you must have gotten a letter of study permit approval. You must have gotten a study visa stamped in your passport. So you take your passport and the letter of study permit approval to the immigration office, and they will hand you your study permit, your actual study permit. So that letter of approval is not considered as a study permit. The actual study permit is what is given to you at the immigration office at the airport. As long as you're a student, this is your first time coming into Canada, just make sure that you do this before you leave the airport, because otherwise you won't be able to function.
And that's on a period.
For those of you who are new permanent residents that are coming into the country for the first time to come and do your landing, you head over to the immigration office and you will show them your passport and your letter of confirmation of permanent residency. Is called COPR. So you need those 2 important documents, and once you submit it to them at immigration, they are going to sign it, and they are also going to give you a number of documents to sign, and from then on you can leave the airport or you can go out to collect your bags. Also, this is very important. So if you're coming into Canada for the first time and you have a layover, you will have to pick your bags before you continue with your journey. So for example, if you are coming to Manitoba but you have to lay over in Toronto before you get to Winnipeg, that means once you land in Toronto airport, after clearing with Customs and Border Services and immigration, you have to head over to the carousel, or is it the conveyor belt, to collect your bags, and then you will go and look for the next terminal where your next destination is. So you always make sure that you pick your bags up before you continue with your journey to your final destination. The second important thing that you need to do within your first week in Canada is to get your SIN. SIN is social insurance number. This is the equivalent of a social security number for those of you who live in the United States. This is also the equivalent of national or Nigerian identity number for those of you from Nigeria. So SIN, this is your identity. This is like a cherished possession. Without a SIN, you cannot go to school, you cannot get a job, you cannot even open a bank account.
I know that's right.
So it's really very important to make sure that you get your SIN number. So in order to get your SIN number, you can simply walk into any Service Canada center that is near you in whatever city that you are in. There are so many Service Canada centers that are scattered across the nation. So just walk into any Service Canada center near you and show them your passport, show them your study permit or your work permit or your confirmation of permanent residency, COPR, and you will get your SIN assigned to you. It takes around 15-20 minutes if there aren't too many people at the Service Canada Center. For permanent residents and citizens, SIN usually starts with 9. So really important to get your SIN number, and also really important to protect your SIN at all costs, and don't just freely give it out to anybody that asks, except it is formally required. The third important thing that you need to get within your first week in Canada is an ID card, an identity card. It's very easy. All you have to do is walk into a registry. It could even be a vehicle registry or a registry center in your city that is nearest to you, and you will show them your passport, you will show them your study permit or your work permit or your confirmation of permanent residency, and you pay a certain fee to get the ID card. An ID card is really very important to have, especially for those of you who are foreigners, so that you don't have to walk around with your passport out and about, right? Because passports are very valuable documents and it's something that could easily be misplaced. So if you have your ID card, then you can keep your passport in a safe place and just move around with your ID card instead of moving around with your passport. The next thing that you need to have done within your first week in Canada is a provincial government healthcare card. So I don't know what the procedure is in each of the individual provinces, but I do know that in order to get your provincial government healthcare card, you simply have to walk into a registry center. Again, the same registry center that you use to get your driver's license or your ID card. You walk into that same registry center with your passport. That's if you don't already have an ID card, or you walk in with your passport, your study permit, your work permit, or your confirmation of permanent residency, any of those legal documents. You can simply walk into the registry center with those, and then they will register you within the healthcare system, and they will assign a healthcare number, a personal healthcare number to you. Now, it's very important to have a healthcare card because it gives you access to be able to see a doctor if you're feeling sick, if you have a headache, or if there's something wrong with you, if you're given a referral to maybe you go do some lab work or some tests or some scans at a clinic or any lab centers. You're going to need your healthcare card for those, so it's really very important. Also, your healthcare card can serve as a piece of ID, because usually in some places they ask for 2 pieces of ID. So the first ID could be your driver's license or your passport if you have your passport, or your ID card, provincial ID card, and the second piece of ID would be the healthcare card. The fifth important thing that you need to get done within your first week in Canada is to get your driver's license. Now, getting your driver's license is super easy. Again, walk into a registry center and register to have your driver's license. If you are from any one of these countries, you do not need to perform a road test. All you have to do is just walk into the registry center and submit your ID and your work permit and your status, anything that shows your legal status in Canada, and they can easily transfer your license. You also need to submit your previous license. If you're not from any of these countries that I've shown on the screen, you may have to do a road test before you can get a license to be able to drive in Canada. If you've never had any driving experience before, if this is your first time driving, then you have to also write a knowledge test and pass the knowledge test, and then you'll be given a learner's license. So driver's license, provincial ID card, and also provincial government healthcare card, these 3 items can serve as pieces of ID so that you don't have to walk around with your passports. The next thing that you need to have set up within your first week in Canada is to open a bank account. Now, this is very easy, and as a student, if you're a new student, it's very easy to set up a bank account. You can just walk into any branch and tell them you want to open an account, and you will have a financial advisor assigned to you. Normally, for students, there are no charges to accounts. If you're choosing the basic account, just like the basic thing with the basic features, you just want something to just put your money in, then there are usually no charges to the account, so you don't have to pay any monthly fees or any annual fees associated as long as you're a student. When you're opening an account as a student, you have to show proof that you are a student, either with your school ID card or your enrollment. So you can print off your enrollment page and show it to them, and that verifies you as a student so that you don't get to pay any fees. The next thing you need to to have set up is your school ID card or student ID card, and this is specifically for those of you who are new students. Usually for international students, you would usually walk into the International Student Services Center to get your ID card. It's really super easy, and the ID card just gives you access to so many things. It gives you access to open certain doors within your department or your school. It gives you access to the library, and it also gives you access to transportation. So if you're going to be taking the bus or if you're going to be taking the train, having your student ID is really very important. I don't know about other provinces, but in this province here, as a student, there is usually a sticker that they attach to the ID card that gives you access to transportation, access to take the bus or to take the train to school or to anywhere else that you'd like to go. So really very important to have your school ID card with you whenever you're going out or whenever you're in school. The next thing, or the 8th thing on the list to do, is to apply for your permanent residency card. This one is specifically for those of you who are new permanent residents who have just landed in Canada. So it's super easy. You also have to do this at the Service Canada Center. You can even do this at the same time you are applying for your SIN. So when you walk into the Service Canada Center, after you've applied for a SIN, apply for your permanent residency card. Usually it's done together because it's just easier than having to go and come back again. It takes around 8 weeks and it comes in the mail. All you have to do is show them your passports. They want to see the landing visa and show them the confirmation of permanent residency. So all of these things that you need to have done within your first week are super important, because you can't really move forward if you don't have these important and valuable documents. And normally these items usually take at least 2 days to get all of these things on the list, but if you're really taking your time, then at most within a week you should have applied for all these. And so after you have settled and applied to have all of these valuable documents, the next thing to do is to start looking for a place to live. I do have a video where I have specifically talked about all things accommodation, how to find the best accommodation, which I'm going to be either linking up on the screen here or in the description box. So check the description box for the link to my video on how to find the best apartment, and I believe that video will guide you. Alright guys, so this is it for this video today. I hope that this video was helpful to you. Share this video with anybody you know who is new to Canada. Also give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and also turn on my post notifications so that you never miss an upload from me. And with that, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.